so close to peeking its head up over the horizon. Very pretty. It is beautiful. Louise agrees. In the comfort of final control, sorry, not comfort, but I mean from the final control room where she is directing the show this morning, ably assisted by the eminently capable Kirsty McLennan-Smith. It's lovely to have a full complement back. The whole team is here. It is lovely to have the entire team back on board. Although, Brian, have you noticed the raise in noise levels at the camp?
Yeah.
Yes, it's it's noisy again. It is noisy again. The dinner time conversations, or the conversations around the table, have become a slightly more voluble affair, with people having conversations in every direction. It's lovely. I mean, it's completely insane half of the time, but it is very lovely. Just noisy. Lots of people chattering away, catching up on where they've been and what they've been up to. Taylor, of course, is back. She will be on drive this morning. I hope you're all very excited. I'm sure she's full of tales and stories to tell you. Well, this morning, I was driving from Inger's to main camp, so here you go, get a little pre-show story. And I stopped here, exactly in the spot, because a white-tailed mongoose ran across the road and stopped over there, just behind that log. But she was accompanied by a baby. And I switched off the car exactly here because they shot across, and obviously the baby got a fright and stopped, and Mom kept running. This baby turned around, stopped, and looked at me and went, "Wah!" I mean, it was this little white-tailed mongoose about this big. I just sat there staring at this cheeky little thing. Mom obviously freaked out, came running back and tried to pick the baby up, but it was just past the age of picking a baby up. The baby was just that little bit too big for her, so she kept grabbing it, ultimately dragged it over the log by the back of its neck, as if to say, "Would you please behave?" It was such a relatable moment. It was so sweet. I haven't seen a baby white-tailed mongoose in a very long time. Ooh. I didn't even know they made that noise. It was as much a surprise to me as I was to them. Much darker than Mom, and with a much less prominent white tail. Oh, Brian is sneezing this morning. Brian is definitely struggling with the hay fever. I am too. My left eye is slowly but surely swelling shut. So there's something in the air. There is most definitely something in the air. It's causing us to sniffle, sneeze. Brian has a tendency. How many sneezes do you tend to do in a row, Brian?
About 4 or 5 usually.
About 4 or 5 usually. I have definitely heard you sneeze. Yeah, 4 or 5 sneezes. I've definitely heard about 8 or 9 this morning at one point as Brian got on the car. It's the joys of the live safaris. And so nothing's pre-recorded, so you can't stop and go back. So if every now the camera goes, it's because poor Brian is sneezing. Right, well, just like that, our pre-show is over. I hope you're all excited for the live safari, and we will be catching up with you very shortly. I'm going to go and find some lions, I hope.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
And there's nothing wrong with looking at the sunrise for a second time this morning. Isn't that just absolutely beautiful? It's really good to be back on the safari with you all today. And this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live. Good morning, and I hope that you enjoyed that sunrise. We're going to actually try and get another little look at it again, but for now, the tree is quite thick and it's making little bit difficult for us to see it, but anyways, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me this morning we've got Jean-Dre, and I cannot tell you how good it is to be back in the African wilderness with my Wild Earth family, who I've missed very, very much. It's been a long holiday, and well, yes, I'm very excited to be back. And poor Louise this morning had to bear with my screeching as I saw all the little impala lambs for the first time this morning, and heard the woodlands kingfisher calling for the first time as well. It seems as though so much has changed in the last 2 weeks since I have been gone. Now, remember, we are on a live safari show, so if you'd like to chat to us or interact with myself and Jamie, and I think Brent will be joining us a little bit later for a walk, you're welcome to either hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or you can even send us an email, questions@wildearth.tv. Yeah, the sun seems to be slightly better. Isn't that amazing? And Jean-Dre and I were worried this morning that we were going to miss the sunrise. And now I'm really just going to take a moment as we watch the sun peek over the tops of the canopy of the trees in the distance, just to listen to the dawn chorus. This is something that I have definitely missed. It was one thing watching the sunset over the ocean, but there's nothing quite like watching the sun rise over the tops of the trees with all those incredible birds calling in the distance. And speaking of birds, I've seen one sitting up on the top of a dead tree. Can you see it over there, Jean-Dre? That big dead knobthorn?
Yeah.
It looks, we're going to have to try and get a closer look, but I can't quite see what it is just yet. You can just see the silhouette of it, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But that should be an easy one to identify, and I think to start the morning off, let's do a little quiz. So, what bird do you think that is, sitting on a dead knobthorn with the sun rising at the back of it? So if you'd like to send your answers through to either hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or you can send us an email, questions@wildearth.tv. And I'd love to hear from you, just to see if anybody's awake and actually watching. It'll be a good way to start, and I just can't believe how quickly that sun has come up. And we know once it reaches about halfway in the sky, the rays are really going to be pelting down on us. And it is going to be a scorching day today. And I'm so glad that all of you are enjoying the sunrise. It isn't quite like anything like an African sunrise or an African sunset. It's always quite special. That is incredible. I mean, that was probably only about a minute or two, and now it's come up, and you can slowly start to see those beautiful colors in the sky starting to disappear now. And I'm very thankful for this haze that we've got, and I hope it sticks around for most of the morning. Like I said, I think we're going to be applying sunscreen quite liberally today. And that is it. Now, my plan for this morning is to go and check around Twin Dams and perhaps see if the Queen of Djuma, Karula, the leopardess that patrols this area, has perhaps popped back onto our traverse, or maybe see if there's any sign of Hosanna or Shongile around. And that's probably what we're going to do, and if we don't get lucky there, we might sneak across to Cheetah Plains. Now, while we make our way across to Twin Dams, we're not too far now. I know that Jamie is desperately waiting to say hello.
And a A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the spectacular sunrise safari. As you saw with me earlier and with Taylor just briefly, has been a really truly beautiful morning. My name is Jamie. This morning I have Brian on camera with me, and of course Brian always comes along with the thumb. A little bit earlier on I was half watching my monitor during our pre-show, and I thought that that the thumb hadn't made an appearance this morning. I was utterly devastated. Turns out it was just Brian's other thumb. But there was a brief moment there where I was most concerned. However, as Taylor said, it is going to be a scorching day. I'm embracing this early morning chill. I was going to say in the goosebumps, but they're gone already. It's already too hot for us to have goosebumps. And in fact, it is going to be a very warm day. Brian and myself are heading all the way to the western boundary of Djuma to go and see whether or not our Nkuhumas, our pride of lions, have decided to return to us once again. We have been bereft of their company. In fact, we've been bereft of quite a few mammals' company, have we not, Brian? There's a mammal. It's very far away, and I think it's a steenbok. I'm relatively certain it is a steenbok, and because it's out in the open, I'm stopping very far away, because otherwise it is going to dash off. So there's our first mammal of the morning, a steenbok at about 5 kilometers away. Not quite. Little male, watching us cautiously. And of course, they are shy animals that love dense vegetation to hide in. So this little one being out in the open means that it's going to be slightly more nervous than it might normally be. Hello, little boy. What have you been up to? I'm sure very grateful that morning has arrived and that it's now breakfast time, off in search of something to dig up, some roots and shoots to eat. That was appropriately timed. Right, so it has been, I'm not even sure how long it's been since I last saw an elephant. I have not seen a buffalo for so long I've forgotten what they look like. The Nkuhumas have been spending a lot of time on Simbambili. The Queen went south. Luckily, Brent yesterday had quarantined the male leopard and a pair of male cheetah on Cheetah Plains. So our cat streak is continuing, our newly started cat streak. But it does feels very quiet out here, doesn't it, Brian? And that is the inevitability of living in a massive open system in the way that we do. The animals can go where they want, when they want, and apparently where they want is, at the moment, for now, not on Djuma, or at least not on this part of Djuma. I'm going to be overjoyed if we come around the corner and there is a herd of elephants standing feeding. And no one can blame them, of course. After the long, hard, dry season, they're a little bit tired of trees, and there are certain places throughout this reserve where it has rained a little bit more, and there are grasses growing up in beautiful open areas, and that, I think, is where they're all hiding. I'm hoping that's where they're all hiding. You wouldn't think that so many large, several-ton animals could disappear, but they did, overnight. One day they were here, the next they were gone. We don't even see their tracks on the ground anymore. Now, hopefully we do get lucky and we bump into them. But we're driving right up towards Gowrie Gate, which is the main entrance to the northern Sabi Sand, and forms the sort of the top triangle with Buffelshoek, Simbambili and Djuma. I'm hoping that there will be signs of Nkuhumas crossing. The last time I bumbled up in this direction, we found the Nkuhumas in roughly 2 minutes, which is very convenient. But I did say at the time it was too easy and that we were going to pay for that particular ease of sighting. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the Nkuhumas, I spoke to one of the guides yesterday. He told me, because he could visit the Nkuhumas on Simbambili, he told me that there were 6 cubs. So that will make many of you feel better. There was a brief moment where 2 of the cubs had been separated from the rest of the pride, and it looks as though they have been reunited once again. That's good news, that's wonderful news, but of course we'd love to see them for ourselves and to see them happy, all back together once again. That is not a lion track. Okay. I wonder if we take a shortcut, are we going to miss out on being thorough? Possibly. I think perhaps we should not take a shortcut and go all the way to the gate and perhaps ask the lovely people there if they've seen any lions coming through. And this morning I arrived with great excitement. I thought that I'd seen a leopard standing outside of the camp, but it turned out to be just an odd reflection of James's car parked in a different spot. Now there we go. I've started off the morning in an interesting way. So while I search for our lovely lions, I'm sure you're all eager to hear what Taylor's plans are and where she's going.
I was so excited to see yesterday that the hardy-dar chicks have hatched. Now, I'm trying to get a view. Here she is, up on the top of her nest. And I'm hoping that we are going to get a glimpse of, well, I don't know if beautiful is the right word to describe the hardy-dar chicks, but whatever they may be, whatever you think they may be, maybe they're so ugly that they are cute. But I'd love to see their little heads pop up. Now, I was so lucky this year with finding such a variety of different nests. I must tell you that when I was guiding normally, I often would search and search and search for nests, and I never quite came right. The only ones I seemed to be able to find were either Verreaux's eagle-owled nests on old hammerkop nests, or I could find weaver nests pretty well, but that's it. So this year was quite interesting for me. It's just amazing the different areas, and I think I was just in the right spot at the right time. But here this female hardy-dar ibis sits, keeping her clutch of chicks nice and warm. Not that I think that she needs to keep them too warm on a day like today. It's quite pleasant at the moment. And perhaps the male is out searching, probing around, looking for a nice earthworm or a grub or a beetle of some sort to come back and feed these chicks. But we'll probably just spend a moment here and see if he does return. And maybe this is even him. It could be the other way around. They will take turns once these little ones have or seen as though they've hatched now. And you can see she's moving around a little bit. Or perhaps those little ones, or he is moving around a little bit. Perhaps those little ones are moving around inside the nest. Isn't this just incredible? I remember growing up as a kid, my best friend managed to have she found a hardy-dar nest in a tall pine tree in her garden. And I'll never forget that one night we had a sleepover party, and her mom came in the morning, and she had one of these hardy-dar chicks that had fallen out the nest. Now, unfortunately, the nest was so high at the top of this pine tree, it was impossible for us to climb up into it and go and put it back. Well, there it looked like a little head popped up. Was that a head? See if that happens again. So if you just watch sort of between her breast and her beak, every now and then it looked like something was popping up. Maybe it was one of those little chicks. Anyway, so her mom brought in this little hardy-dar chick, and they actually raised it. And they fed it sort of mealworms that you could get from the pet shop, and they ground them up and sort of syringed it into the little bird's mouth, and it lived. Can you believe it? Eventually it fledged and went off on its way. And that was my first experience, real experience with a hardy-dar. But this is much better, to be able to sit here and watch them grow up. And I hope that they have a bit more luck than those
with the camera. Yes. It's like she will be on at it. Because they just this he freaked baby age of maybe was skipped over the neck is seen in a very was quicker than mom and pre-recorded. So, right, well, Safari with you of
This
And there's morning. Really little thickener. Smile. And and been chat to on TV. Andre a moment distance like watching these and not you silhouette but that is the earth and half sky the rain and it is
complaints this morning. I was Brian. I was. It is going to. A very, very warm day. Or not, our once because slightly more boy. What to morning has I'm not sure how long I not a lot of time in Bumbly. The on this part. Can blame. There are more, and they're all. Hope they're all hiding. You would think that so. One. Getting to them. And hoping that almost 2 minutes. But the time it so that's where good news. Themselves
there she is. And such a nest. North one would what came right and work warm. When he what those says there's a kid I'm in the maybe it was one so more very this morning. It's lovely. Whole team. It is. Every direct, lovely of the time. String away. That's it. Already. We'll get a. Ran across the. Baby. And I switched. What a fright. This big. Running back and try to pick the up. Her, so she over. Very long. So much.
10 in a row, Brian?
About 4 or 5 usually.
About 4 usually. 4 or 5. Nice. Car. Lives of pre-recorded. Hope you're
Animal
just live. Good morning. Can I make it a little bit difficult for us to see it? How good it is to with my Wild Earth family. I've missed very TV. Yeah, genre. As we over the just in the distance. I've seen a little bit more. Let's do that is not at TV connection. That sunrise, anything. Right. Thankful. If controls far now desperately hello
camera with me. Watching my pre-show. Taylor already shot to have selfing. Sustainable. Open me. It's not this time. Some roots and shoots to eat. Right. So as being beans cheetah here to Brian, and that is become no one claim them, of course, after long hard I see think that driving right up entrance to the woman across the bump the wreck, which is particular. Pumas that clubs of pride. They have to see that combination of all
don't know if describe and all company the right shoe. It's quite so I'm looking for more some back and here and could be seen as though ones nest. Best friend. Hot was she? Was it? Let's see if I'll check. And then worm shot. Pledged and sit here and I
horizon. It's beautiful. From the room where shows completely in. Story. Pre-show. Yeah. Stop. But she running back and trying to pick the baby up, but it's past the age of picking a baby up. Of them much dark this morning to my full seas. To the so Brian is. I hope you're very short.
And may
with looking that's see it. How good is be back. It seems as though so much has changed in the last 2 weeks, and if you'd like brain our worry a moment sun down on us. Be all of you who are enjoying this fun. I'm very thankful this I said, I think going if to or key there to
Morning. Spectacular. On camera. Wait, there's a lot of thumb. Watching my video. Brian had no insurance. But there. Hi, it is very, very well. Find myself or not. Not. Thank you. Was to kilometers. To be slight. House beans. Beans. They have streakers. Juma. The corner and the long drop. They're all towards and Buffles hook the end. We were going to that they a different. I'm sure your Taylor's plan. I'd love to see a little pop up now. Eagle, old hum, or a day like probably just the other way around. Once these she's ones around as a kid. And on every butter road, we see that when we watch and we try and follow her. So it can be quite difficult, of course, but we'll just see what else we can find. And something else that I've noticed since I've been away is that they have done some repairing of the roads, which is quite nice. So these roads are nice and smooth and very sandy, which makes it quite easy for us to see lots of lovely footprints. And if I see any interesting ones on this road, I'm definitely going to show you. It's beautiful. Actually, I'll keep a very close eye out for some nice tracks. And, well, I'd like to actually have a look at some more impala lambs this morning, rather than just seeing them very early, quite briefly. But I'd like to actually look at them with some nice light and see if they bounce around for us. Goodness, it seemed to have been very quiet around here last night. Not too much going on. Where are all the animals at, Chandra? All that seems to be around is the woodland kingfish. I can hear one calling in the tree. But where are you? There it is. Oh, that was an easy. As I said that, there, did you see it just fly away? I don't know if you noticed, there was a faint figure that flew to the bottom right of the screen. I suspect it's now gone. Well, that was a very quick view of a woodland kingfisher. We'll get one eventually, but I know that they've been abundant at the moment, and I'm sure you've been seeing lots and lots of them. Maybe I wasn't even on Central. No, let's go here. We'll just drive around until I jump onto a road that I recognize. No, because I've got footprints. Yay! Okay, let's check. Let's see who we've got here.
I'm going to jump out again because I want to have a closer inspection. No, I'm not going anywhere because bungee line, because my earpiece was still attached. Right, let's have a look here. See, some of these, like I said, some of these tracks don't do us any justice when they're in the sand because they splay quite wide out. But this is good. Here we go. Back on the money again. We've got a track going straight down the road. Isn't that fantastic? Now, that was just a quick look. I don't want to waste too much time on the ground, but let's keep going. Let's try to keep these tracks in sight and see if we can pick up on them. I need to check where we are again. So we go trusty GPS, and that's the hardest thing when you're coming back to work, especially on new properties, that you tend to forget where you are quite often. It'll take me another month or so before I remember the roads when I come back from Lee. Okay, Drakensberg Central. Fantastic. Right, now I'm going to try and keep these tracks and make sure I don't lose them again, but for now they seem to be going straight along the road, which is fantastic. So I apologize if I don't pay you too much attention, but I do want to find this leopard for all of you, and I'm sure that you'll be quite excited if we can get one of those. There's another track. There's another one. You can see them going all the way along the road, which is perfect. It's quite difficult, but basically where my hand is, they're just going straight up on top of tracks from last night. So let me just turn that off. You can see another one over there, and that's good. There they are, and I reckon that's from probably last night sometime. So we could be a little bit behind these footprints, so let's not dawdle for too much longer. Like I said, it's not just about looking down on the ground, obviously, though it helps, and it's easier when you're walking. In the vehicle it can be a little bit difficult because you've got to scan up in the trees and along the ground, on the termite mounds. So I hope you're doing the same thing, and then of course make sure that we're still going in the right direction. Well, we're lucky so far. It's fantastic because every time I keep thinking we've just lost them, get onto a road and then they pop back up again. Ah. Now she likes this area. Whoa, mongoose! We're going to see some little dwarf mongoose. I'm just going to pull off the road, and I can still see or if it is Karula's tracks, I can still see them on the ground. Don't run away, mongoose. I'm going to just stop just over here. There they are. Good morning. Family of dwarf mongoose who are scratching away, obviously looking for some termites in this mound. And there's quite a few little heads around. No sun for them to warm up this morning though. It's not too chilly, so I think that they would have been full of energy and ready to go. Hearing those babblers calling in the distance, just keeping an eye out, making sure they aren't shouting for something. And they are very vigilant little creatures. Very good eyesight. And it's proving quite difficult to compete with the birds this morning, though their voices sound a lot better than mine. But I love these little critters. They are so funny, especially when they do sort of forage through the leaves like chickens, you know, scratching around looking for anything to eat, any beetles or grubs, any scorpions that are perhaps under the bark. And well, with the rains that we have had, I'm sure they'll be making use of all the termites that are around. But you can see them, they don't stop, constantly on the move. There it is, scratching through the leaves, double checking each other, making sure that one of the family members perhaps didn't miss something. There we go. See that one sort of starts digging. Oh, it looked like it got something. I wonder what it found. Now we're watching these little mongooses as they scurry around, and you can see that they are quite happy to be out here first thing in the morning. Now, good morning to Ian and Kira. Now, you're wondering, are these animals more active during the morning or the evening? Now, mongoose in particular, and it depends on what type of mongoose, but the dwarf mongoose, which is the ones that we are watching at the moment, they will wake up just as the first light appears. They'll probably groom themselves a little bit, strengthen the bond between the members of the group, sort of say hello to each other, groom themselves, groom each other, and well then, if it's a cold winter's day, they'll need to warm themselves up. But now in summer, they don't need to do that, they just carry on with their day. But you get other species of mongoose, like the white-tailed mongoose, which is a nocturnal species. So during the day, they spend their days sleeping, and at night, they come out under the cover of darkness. They're a little bit more shy than what the dwarf mongoose are, and then they will go around and look for things to eat. And it's amazing how this happens, how you get nocturnal species of animals and you get diurnal species of animals. Because most of these things, especially these little critters, are all feeding on the same thing. They're feeding on beetles and larvae and scorpions. And it's nice that they take a sort of time to rest as well, because it then gives the other species that will come out at a different time of the day an opportunity to look for the same sort of food type, but not in direct competition with each other. So I think that that's quite nice how nature has worked itself out like that, providing opportunities for different species to feed at different times of the day. Can you see the little yellow butterfly in the background as well, just behind its head? That's a beautiful butterfly. Now we're looking at this lovely little yellow butterfly. Now I know Brent is quite good at butterflies. I'm not sure what that one is. It looks too big to be a broad banded yellow, or broad-bordered yellow, sorry. So I'll have to ask Brent, or I'll have to have a look at my butterfly book. I actually have one with me, but we'll check that a bit later. Now, Michael from Canada, it was a very long question, I apologize. I really did have butterfly syndrome, and as the butterfly did actually catch my attention this time, it wasn't something else. Now, you were wondering if the youngsters and I'm going to listen to the question quickly. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Louise. Sorry about that. My concentration span, I've got to work on that. So Michael, you were wondering if the adults and the youngsters feed the same on the same sort of food source. And if I'm downward, can I smell if these dwarf mongoose smell like berries? Now that is fantastic, because I didn't know that they supposedly smelt like berries. This is new information to me. But sadly, there is very little wind at the moment. It's deathly still out here, which is actually, it's quite nice. I think a bit later it would be nice for a breeze though. Now, so I'll have to get back to you that one over the next week. I'll try and get downwind of some mongoose and have a smell. Chandra, have you ever smelt mongoose before? Chandra has never either, so this is a new thing for us. We'll have to have a look. Now, when it comes to the types of food that these little critters are feeding on, they're very, very much eating lots of little things, as we watch this one watching us and hasn't moved at all. So they'll eat earthworms and scorpions, and you often see those little ones coming out and foraging and learning with the adults from a very, very young age. This is so funny. This reminds me, and I don't know if any of you have ever heard of a hyrax before, or a dussie as we commonly call them in South Africa. But this little mongoose, the way it's sort of perched itself and it's sort of all scrunched up and just staring at us, its posture reminds me very much of a hyrax. And they're funny little things. That's something that I quite miss seeing, is that you don't really see too many dussies around here. Not really any big rocks and things for them to sit on. They like the cliff faces. Hello, little one. Lovely pink nose and your red eyes. And just making sure, keeping a close eye on us. It doesn't seem to be a particularly big family. I could only count 4 of them. The others are now disappearing into the distance. Now, Eric from Dallas, you were wondering what is the collective noun for a group of mongoose. You're wondering if it was a troop or a horde. Now, I must tell you, the most wonderful thing about collective nouns is that you can give them your own one if you wanted to. You know, one person was obviously a little bit creative. I haven't actually heard of a collective noun for mongoose before, have you? A business, that's a good one. Jean-Andre says a business of mongoose, and I quite enjoy that. That's quite nice. That was something that I used to do when I first started guiding, as I always used to look at the different ones. But perhaps, maybe, we can find something else that suits them a little bit better. A scurry of mongoose. I don't know what that they just very. It has to do, like Jean-Andre said, a business of mongoose is quite nice. It's got to be something that describes how quickly they sort of move, and they're sort of how they're quite social. So maybe you think of something good. So if you have thought of anything clever that we could maybe use and give them a different type of collective noun, a more suitable one, you're welcome to hashtag Safari Live with what you think would be a good one, or you can even email us questions@wildearth.tv. Right, now we're going to head across to Jamie, who's got a roller on a wire.
A roller on a wire, and one that many of you, who perhaps you might have missed out on the opportunity on previous drives, for whom this might be, if not the first, then at least the first of the season. So it is a European roller, back once again. I saw them about 2 weeks ago, but I have yet, this is the first time I've managed to get one on camera. So whilst I might not have had any success with lions, leopards, or the mystery of the death of the scrub hare, we have managed to put a European roller on camera. It is most unfortunate that it is sitting on a power line, but that is what our birds love to do, especially the rollers and especially the kingfishers. They love to sit up there. It's the perfect vantage point. They don't have to worry about leaves getting in their way. It's nice and secure, nice and open. So it makes total sense that they would be quite happy to utilize it. I think the way that tail's acting to balance this bird. It's constantly moving up and down. Just those nuances of balance. Hop. And there we go. Not the most, well, they are beautiful in their own way, especially when the light starts to touch them. But definitely not as beautiful as, say, the lilac-breasted or the, in my opinion, the broad-billed roller. But they are still a welcome sight. All that we're missing now, I believe, is the carmines, the carmine bee-eaters, not rollers, but the carmine bee-eaters, to add to our summer collection of different birds. And it's almost like a treasure hunt each and every single summer to wait for the return of our various migratory species. Okay, so the lions haven't come out. They've come in here and they've walked along, but they don't seem to have come out on the road off to my right, which is Zoe's road. And I just want to check, because it wouldn't be the first time that this has happened. I just want to check that they haven't pulled a sneaky one and gone back onto Arethusa. They're wild animals, and whilst they usually, when they're walking in a line, they generally go in that direction. They could have seen something, they could have chased something, they could have decided, actually, we forgot to have a drink, and gone back towards Arethusa. So I want to just check again that they haven't crossed over there. Yeah. That was an interesting sound. Rusty? Rusty, don't do this to me, please. Steph's going to kill me. We didn't do anything crazy. We've been... Actually, Phew! That was very odd. Really odd. Oops, I better remember what I meant to be doing, which is checking for tracks. That was so peculiar. Okay. Well, we best report that at some point, although I'm not quite sure what I report. Rusty made a strange sound and then refused to start. And then started fine. Oh well, morning confusions. Let's go find these lions. I'm much better with them. It looks as though perhaps the walk team might have helped to take a load off our minds, or at least a load off our shoulders, in terms of helping us try and track down Shadow. I'm almost certain that it is Shadow. I think that there's a very good chance it is her. She's been hiding out to the south of our boundary, which is the property to my left, which is Hoffman's, and up to the north in this block around the Gowrie repeater, which is within our traverse area. And for those of you that are perhaps new to these live safaris, Shadow is a female leopard. She is the daughter of Queen Karula and 10 years old. She must be 10 now. Yeah, she must be 10. She's 10 years old, and she's had very much in contrast to her mom, she's had a very, very sad life story. She just hasn't been all that successful in terms of raising cubs. So it would be an absolute joy to see her, because she really has been largely absent. She has been largely absent from our lives. But the joy, of course, of these live safaris is that we get to follow these animals for months and years. For those of you that perhaps have not heard, or perhaps you're new to these safaris, we have very exciting news. In terms of following our animal characters, you will be able to follow them for 8 weeks on live television on Nat Geo Wild if you are in the States, and that will be starting on the 1st of January on Nat Geo Wild only, and that will be for, as I said, 8 weeks, which is a really, really exciting turn of affairs. It's exciting for all of us, and of course it's exciting in spreading the awareness of these incredible animals, because I think that the more people can actually, rather than a once-off, not that the once-offs are not very exciting, but rather than a once-off exposure, people can actually tune in each and every single week and get an update on what is happening with the characters and the animals that they saw in the last week's safari. So exciting news happening for Safari Live. I hope you're all very excited. We are. We most definitely are. We, of course, now have to find them. Our hyenas have been around, just not on Juma, walking their regular patrol route. I'm not going to stop for the hyena tracks. I feel as though we've done tracking ad nauseum this morning. Let me just keep trying to find you things while we track. Unfortunately, though, it seems as though the mammals are all in hiding. Luckily, though, sometimes what you don't see from the vehicle, you can see on walk. I think we should head over to Brent to find out what he's up to and what he has to say.
Well, welcome to the bushwalk. We've done about 1.5 kilometers since you last saw us. We're trying to second guess where the Nkuhuma Pride was moving to. Now, Jamie had the last tracks probably over there. We've got no tracks coming this way. So we're going to start moving maybe a little bit further to the west from here. See if they're not in some of these thickets here. Now I'm just utilizing a nice, a really big termite mine. Let's hope Dave doesn't fall down as he climbs up to me. Oh, put your four-wheel drive on, David. There we go. So we've got a really impressive view from up here. And we're able to look into the bush. All I saw was a steenbok, unfortunately. But also, while I'm up here, I'm listening for alarm calls. I'm smelling to see if I can smell a fresh carcass. And so far, no luck, but you know, that's why we've got to track. Got to keep following. But I did notice quite a cool little plant while I was up here. Well, they grow all over the place. Well, there's a leaf that someone's picked already. Oopsie, sorry, Dave. Yeah, it's quite leathery, thick skin. This one's obviously been picked, so it's lost quite a bit of moisture already, but and you see when we strip it, still holding lots of moisture. Now, it is a succulent plant. It's got quite the interesting name. Dave, do you know what this plant is called? I don't. It is called a mother-in-law's tongue, because it's quite... I'm not going to say any more, I'll stop right there. But it can be a quite important plant for a lot of animals and for human beings. Now, as you can see how well it strips as I was doing, You can strip it to make rope. It's really strong as well. And you got to get it sort of, if you strip in the right. See, if you try to go across, it's impossible. Ugh. But if you strip lengthways with the fibers, you can strip it quite finely, and you can make quite an effective rope out of it. Now, I don't want to dig out one of these mother-in-law's tongue. They take quite a long time to grow. But if I was to dig out this mother-in-law's tongue, the root is quite a big white fleshy substance. Well, maybe see if we can show it to you. I'm starting there. So that white fleshy substance. Now if we were to dig that out, you could probably squeeze a quarter of a cup of water out of it. So, and you can drink it straight away. It's quite a good source of moisture if you don't have any, and far better than drinking out of an elephant dropping, if you can find them. Now, they're not that common in this area, so we do have to look quite carefully, and that's another reason why I don't want to dig the pork plant out. Now, oh, look at this. It's amazing when you just stop to look a little bit more closely at things. Oh, thorny, thorny, thorny. But you see under that leaf there, look at that. It's a butterfly or moth eggs over there. Sorry. There we go, look at that. So that's butterfly or moth eggs laid on the underside of this, whoopsie, spike thorn. I can't see whether they're hatched yet. Doesn't look like it. I'm trying to remember what species of butterfly feeds off the spike thorns. I can't remember now. It could be, I'm sure there's quite a few species. I think some of the blues do, Joker as well. It's just, sorry, I thought I heard something there, but I think it's a car in the distance, not the growl of a lion. Okay, Dave, you feeling brave?
Oh, yes.
Now, you'll see how steep this is as we go down. It's probably about 10, 12 feet high. Okay, let's carry on. I would suggest going sideways, Dave. Otherwise, you'll fall on your nose. Here we go. Now, as you can see why we use a termite mound, if you look around me from this height, I'm looking right into the bush. I can't see down. I wouldn't be able to see if a lion was sleeping underneath anything. Car. The rattle of a car over corrugations. So we're just going to slowly move towards the west. Hi, Rebecca. Rebecca says they also get the mother-in-law's tongue succulent in Florida. Indeed you do. It's become a common garden plant all over the world, but it is indigenous to Africa originally. So you got a little bit of South Africa growing in your garden in Florida, Rebecca. Also, you must always keep a lookout for vervet monkeys in Florida. The same monkey species we get here were introduced into Florida, Barbados, quite a lot of the Caribbean islands, Texas. And in Florida, one of the most damaging invasive species in Florida occurs in your waterways, and it's the same catfish we get here. Now, they are gluttons and survivors and can walk between drying patches of water and they have played havoc on the indigenous Floridan, is that right? Floridan fish species. Now, not only the sharp-toothed catfish, Florida's got quite a few problems with exotics. Snakehead catfish as well from the east, a peacock bass from South America. Now, so we're going to move slowly towards the next big termite mound, get another big high ground. This is quite a thick area, so you'll notice I'm stepping quite carefully, listening very carefully as well. Now, during the day, it's most likely that the pride will try and move away from us. So one of the things I'm listening for is that of kitty cat feet. So far, no lion tracks. So there's our next termite mound that we're going to pop up. Okay, not as big as the last one, but still a lovely vantage point. Now, when I go up the termite mound, I want to do the same as a lion or leopard do. I don't want my profile to stick out, so if the lions are close by, they might see it and move away. So I want to just keep a little bit low. Okay, no sign. What? Oh, little grey dyker dashing away. But we're going to keep looking for these lions and also all the other little interesting things we might find out here on the bushwalk. And hopefully we don't fall off at the top of any termite mounds. But let's go see how Taylor's search for leopard in the east of Djuma is going.
Still looking for this leopard. No luck just yet. We had some really nice tracks though, and we were following them for a bit, but I seem to have lost them now. So I'm hoping that as we're doing this, well, we're just going to pop back up onto those tracks again. But what I am going to do is I'm probably going to head around. We're on Hippo Pools Road at the moment and go towards Buffels Hook Dam. Now, I don't even know if there's water in the dam at the moment, but we'll go and have a look, because whoever this leopard may be, they've been walking quite a distance, and hopefully they've built up a thirst for something to drink. And well, that would be a good spot to go and check, because that pan that's on the sort of Hippo Pools Road, Quarry Pan Junction, well, let me just turn the game drive radio. Hang on, I need to do a quick chat on the radio again. Last one, we'll just go again. Did you say you still had Karula's tracks? Okay, copy, thanks. Right. So, just chatting to Johan. He said that he had a track come in from Buffels Hook side and come onto the cut line and then disappear again. So I wonder whose that was. Maybe Mvula. He seems to like it up around here. He says he's given up, so if we don't come right here with these leopard tracks that we've had that are sort of somewhere in this area, well, then maybe we'll go and have a little look around there. But I think for the moment though, we must stick with our gut and go and check the closest watering source. Let's see if anything is happening around there. But it seems as I'm really only having luck with the birds today, which is okay. Who have we got sitting up here? Let's see, we've got a bird. Hello, birdie. Let's have a closer look at you. Look at that lovely blue sky. It's so nice to see the African sky. Hello, little bird. Now, it's not particularly large. It looks very much like a Wahlberg's eagle to me from this angle. Just sitting there waiting patiently. Maybe looking for a mongoose to run past it. That'd be quite nice, a nice meal. Oh, did you see the shrike? Let's see if we can just get a better view. It looked like a redback shrike. So if you go from the shrub of thorns on the ground and then you go into the trees directly behind it, yeah, okay, actually go zoom up a little bit. I can hear it. I thought I saw a redback shrike for a moment. It's hopped somewhere. There it goes. There you go. It's sitting up in the top of the tree. It might be difficult now because we've got the the sun not really in our favor. There it is, just at the bottom of the screen in the middle. Look at that. Can you see that little strike there? That looks very much like a red-backed shrike. I haven't seen one of those in, I can't even tell you when the last time I saw a red-backed shrike was. Isn't that amazing? And it's something as common as a beautiful bird like this that has evaded me for quite some time. But listen to it. It was chirping a little bit. Now it's not chirping very loudly, but this is the male shrike. The female is not quite as colorful. I'll see if I can bring up a photo of a female for you. But I just love that beautiful black stripe across the eye. It almost looks like when it's raining and you're wearing mascara and eyeliner and, well, you didn't pick up the waterproof kind, and you wipe your eyes, you sort of get that big black smudge across your face. That's what that reminds me of. But beautiful birds. And as the shrikes go, quite savage, quite vicious, and also known for capturing insects and spiking them on thorns or barbed wire. Well, my favorite shrike that does that is the fiscal shrike, which is the shrike that's black and white. We don't really see them up here. They're not very common. This is so wonderful that we're seeing such an array of birds over these last few weeks as the weather warms up. Oh, fantastic. Isn't that wonderful? So I want to show you, I've managed to find a picture of a female. Let's bring her up. Now I've managed to find a photo of the female redback shrike. There we go, I just pulled it up on my app. Try and angle it nicely. You can see not quite as colorful and lacking that big black eye stripe that they have. A little bit, almost looks like it's got a bit of a scaly sort of marking just on the side of the breast. Very white breast, and then of course the red wings that you see. But a beautiful looking bird nonetheless, but not quite attractive as the male. Now, Anna Marie, you were wondering while I was in Florida if I saw any flamingos. Sadly, I didn't see any flamingos, but I was keeping an eye out for them. But my goodness, I saw lots of oh my goodness, lots of some sort of a sandpiper. I didn't have a book to really identify them. They were all over the beaches. They were quite interesting to see. I saw pelicans, and there were brown pelicans, lots and lots of them around. A couple of different seabirds. I saw a bird that I hadn't seen before, one of the frigate birds. I've forgotten which species exactly it was. That was really beautiful. Actually, it's because we've got them in South Africa. I'm going to show you what a frigate looks like, and I could be saying it differently, but tomato, you know, same but different. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I'm looking at for F. There we go, page 50. I'm just going to show you that all over the world we've got different species. Let me show you the frigates that we see. Getting there, haha. So if we go to these two, you can look at any one of them. Let's look at this one. You can see that beautiful sort of fork in the tail, not quite like a fork-tailed drongo, but you can see a big gap, and it's really, really beautiful when they fly, and that's sort of the easiest way to identify them. Actually, if we go up to this other species that we've got over here, oh no, it's the same one. Oh no, it's the greatest, sorry, my bad. You can see nicely when it flies how that sort of tail opens up, and it's the most beautiful silhouette that you will see over the ocean. And this is my first time actually seeing any of these birds. I've never seen them in South Africa before, but I was sat there watching this species and on the beaches I was actually in the Keys when I was watching this. I was in Key West, and it was so territorial. It was chasing a gannet or something along those lines around, and was being quite persistent. It even at one point chased a pelican. Now a pelican is much larger in size, and it just wouldn't give up. It kept chasing and chasing and chasing, which was quite interesting to see. So so that was quite nice. What else did I see? Oh, I saw a bald eagle. Can you believe it? As if one was flying over the top, and you can imagine I shouted fish eagle. And then I was like, oh no, wrong country, wrong continent, and then corrected myself. I saw the ospreys, which was amazing because we see ospreys in South Africa as well. So that was really fun. And bird life was incredible, but sadly I didn't get an opportunity to go into the Everglades, but I can't do it all at once. I'll probably hopefully go back to the States early next year sometime, and hopefully for a little bit longer, and look at a couple more things. No, and now I'm very sad my answer. I got excited. I answered your question quickly. My goodness, there's so much going on. I'm going to reverse because I think I found the flower I've been looking for a long time. Now, Carl, you were wondering if I saw any gators. Sadly not. I didn't see any gators, but I did see some turtles. Now, the turtles were very much like our terrapins that we see that sit on the tops of the hippopotamus, and I experienced a turtle race, which was quite interesting. Basically, at a restaurant, you go and you pick you choose between 4 turtles, you choose a number, and it's all free, and you can win some money type of thing. It was all in good fun, and the money went to conservation of turtles, and it was really funny. So they had these little turtles, they put them on a board, and it was a very short race. It lasted about 2 minutes, and whichever one crossed the line first won. Just sat and didn't do anything. I don't know, they were obviously not nocturnal turtles, but they didn't seem to enjoy it. Now I just want to move the vehicle quickly because I hope my eyes weren't playing tricks on me. Let me have a look here. I'm gonna jump out again. Let's not get caught to my earpiece this time. Please, 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 please. Yay! Yay! I'm so excited now. It's only taken me 3 months, but I'm going to jump in, so in case if Louise shouts at me, she doesn't shout, she's very nice, then I can hear what she says. But I'm so excited. I've just picked one, and it's not quite open just yet. I'll have a look at this beautiful thing. Can you see it? Isn't that amazing? This lovely little orange flower. Now, it doesn't look like much because it hasn't opened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and turn it towards you. And this flower is called, the common name is either a lion's eye or a roadside pimpernel is the other name. Now, it's very sticky on the ends as I'm touching this. I've never noticed that before, how sticky the sort of end bits of it are. And this is an incredibly toxic flower. Can you believe it? It has got a toxin called pentacyclic cyanogenic glycosides. And I'll say that again. It took me a while to learn this toxin, pentacyclic cyanogenic glycosides. And basically what that does is if you were to ingest large amounts of this specific toxin, it'll actually stop your body from producing ATP, which is the energy that goes to your muscles and allows them to work, which would essentially cause a heart attack. It would cause you to go into cardiac arrest. So this one you often see in South Africa. If you've had the privilege of coming over, we love to eat the local flowers. I wouldn't eat this one because I'm not sure on the dosage. Small amounts of this pentacyclic cyanogenic glycosa. This toxin is good for you, but I'm not a chemist, a pharmacist, a doctor, so I couldn't tell you how much it is. So rather don't eat this one, but we'll let that one go. But the animals' digestive systems are much more different to ours, so I suspect that they would be able to eat small quantities of them and be able to survive. But I'm very excited because I've literally been speaking about this particular flower now since I started working here, and finally I got to find one. So that was quite exciting. Now we're just going to carry along until we get towards Buffelshoek Dam, or I've called it Buffelshoek Ham before as well. We'll go there and see what's happening. Otherwise it's very quiet out here. Now, speaking about the bald eagle, which I was very fortunate to see, it was very, very briefly. Now, Liz, you were wondering sort of what I thought about it and how would I compare them. Like I said, when I first saw it, my initial reaction was to shout fish eagle, which is obviously incorrect, to which Ryan then laughing and said, and then I went, oh no, bald eagle. But I had a good laugh at him because he didn't get to see it, because he was too busy trying to drive on the other side of the road, which was also quite an interesting thing. We drive on the left-hand side of the road, and well, everyone that lives in the US of A, you drive on the other side of the road, so that was quite daunting. They look so much the same, especially when they were in flight. Same white head, sort of white on the chest, and very much like an African fish eagle, but sadly I didn't get a proper look at it. It didn't land, it was just flying overhead, and I managed to catch a quick. So hopefully the next time I go I'll actually be able to photograph it. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to turn the radio, Game Drive radio, down a little bit. And something else that I found interesting is all those iguanas that sort of have plagued the Fort Lauderdale, or the whole of Florida, I suppose. But we found some on one of the state parks and in Key West, and they were so beautiful with all the different types of greens and things on them. They made for great sort of things to photograph. They were very, very sort of still warming themselves up. Now we're going to continue, and I'm going to head towards to Brent and see if he's managed to survive that termite mound.
Well, we found some harvested termites. Of our fleet near has sent most of them panicking to the ground, and the soldiers remaining on the outside defending the entrance. Now you'll probably find the workers are starting to already close up that hole just in case we're a real potential danger. Now, let's have a look. Dave, maybe let's try. Here's another group of them. Let's go to another group that our vibrations haven't disturbed as much yet. Okay, let's go carefully between them. So you see those ones there? Yeah. Okay. Now that's just the vibration of our feet. And lets them know there's something big, and look at them, they're all panicking. They're running back for the hole. See how the soldiers stand in defense, and that head banging is communication. So they're letting everyone know that it's dangerous here, there's something coming. Incredible bite force for such a small animal. Oh, there's a big one. Hello, big soldier. Oh, see that bite? Now, he's able to tell that he's biting something that's not alive. There we go, look at that. Oh, he let go. He realized that my stick wasn't alive. I'm not as brave as James. I'm not going to put my finger in there. It is quite sore. And certain of the termite species do have some quite nasty chemicals in their bites as well. But very, very cool. A little soldier termite. Now, I'm really hoping that this year we find something called an African thief ant. Now, I'll try find, I'll bring one actually. I know where there's a dead red driver ant at home, but I'll bring one along. So basically a red driver ant is the queen of a type of ant species, right? They're about this big. Now the African thief ant looks exactly the same, except it's black, not red. And they are incredible because they are one of the termites predators, but they got smart about being a predator. So even though the queen is massive, probably about the length of my thumb, the workers are minute. I mean, you can barely see them with a human eye. And what happens is when those queens leave, they leave with thousands of workers attached to their body. And they'll go land on a nice big termite mound, and they will make their nest on the edge of the termite mound. And those workers are so small that when they go into the termite colony, they can walk out with eggs and babies, and the termites don't even notice them because they're so tiny. I've only ever seen them twice in the Sabi Sands. I'm hoping that this rainy season will be lucky number 3. Hello, Pokemon Guy. Pokemon Guy is wondering, do we get exploding ants here? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't ever heard of any African ant species that explodes, but it would be quite cool to find some if there were. So we are still looking for the lions, but as we look for the lions, we're of course looking for all the wonderful little creatures that are out here as well. Now, very important, keep your eyes up. I'm checking it. Any strange little movements or colorations that might give me a clue to a big animal. And hello, James. James is wondering if I managed to ID which butterfly we saw on yesterday's bushwalk. Not yet, unfortunately, James. I've been through my one butterfly book. It's not in there, which means I have to take out the butterfly Bible, which is about this big and quite heavy going. But I will keep checking. Okay. So, no sign of tracks yet. Now, I don't know if you've been to Jamie, where Herbie met up with Jamie and they had a little discussion. And it seems like the Nkuhuma Pride were chased by the Majingaline males from the west last night. So they could be quite split up. So that's why we're going quite slowly. They could be quite nervous or quite aggressive after a run-in with some unknown male lions. So we're going very, very carefully while we're checking. And we've heard there's some more tracks a bit further to the west of us, so we're going to start heading off in that direction. Now, after lions are chased by other lions, it's not uncommon for the pride to bombshell. So there could be lions in all sorts of places, and it might take them a day or two to reconnect. Now, of course, those type of interactions are always the most dangerous for the cubs. So we don't know any more information. Maybe Jamie has some more information. She spoke to some of the guides in the west. We don't know. I just know what Herbie told me from his radio conversation. Okay. Well, we've reached Ballaniti's Road with no sign of any tracks. So I think we're going to cut through across Impala Plains. Maybe have a look if there's any wildflowers out this side. And then cut back into the bush and head towards the west, towards the power lines where there's some more tracks. So far, no tracks in this area, so we're going to keep moving. Now, nice thing about approaching a big open area is you might find some antelope species on it. But we're going to keep on with our on-foot endeavours. Onward we go. While we do that, let's go see what's happening at the Buffelshoek waterhole.
The only life we have found here at Buffelshoek Dam is the terrapins, the distant cousin of the turtle, or what you call turtles, in the US. And you can see lots of their little heads popping up. And I'm quite sad as to the sight that we're seeing here. As you can see, the water level has dropped quite a bit. Look at that little guy popping its head out. You can even see it breathing. Can you see that? Isn't that lovely? And it's a pity that they're so shy and that we can't get too much closer. Otherwise, they just pop back into the water. But you can see that Buffelshoek Dam, I know you've been seeing it probably for the last couple of weeks, but it has dried out a significant amount. And it's sort of muddy, it's a bit stinky from all the sort of mud now. It looks like there's a little bit of algae forming in the water. It's not looking really too wonderful, but we're going to carry on from here and see what else we can find. Sadly, no luck for any leopard around here, and I've completely lost all the tracks now. Now, as we see, actually this is a much better view of the dam because we can get all of it now. You can see now how it's dried up quite a bit. The last time that I saw the dam, the little island between the two pans of water was much smaller. And of course the water was much deeper. Now Corey from Massachusetts, you're wondering if we ever see any fish in these pools of water that we have on the property, and if we do, what would hunt them? Now Corey, we do occasionally we'll see a catfish. Now what we're looking at now on the surface of the water, those ripples, that's probably insects. But catfish will do very much the same thing. And I haven't seen any fish just yet, but this would be a perfect place though for them to hang around. Now lots and lots of things. You can see a terrapin quickly shuffling across the mud and into deeper waters. Now birds, so from ospreys to African fish eagles to a tawny eagle, really to any of the raptors, they would feed on fish. But something specifically like an osprey and an African fish eagle, they are very good at capturing those. Even something like a leopard would catch a catfish. I've never seen that happening just yet, so that's one of the things that are on the agenda to see hopefully in the next few years, is a leopard catching a catfish. I'm sure even a lion cub would be quite curious as to what a fish is splashing around in the water. So really anything in the times of a drought will make use of any kind of food, even if it is something unusual. Just having a look, I thought I saw a cuckoo land in one of the trees, but I could have been mistaken. Oh no, there's something flying. Oh, there goes a cuckoo. It looked like an African cuckoo that flew away. That was very, very quick though. We'll see if we can get another view. Now, fortunately, that cuckoo, I think it looked very quick. You didn't get a great view of it. It looked like it is now. Oh no! Come back! It's sneaky. I think there might be a pair of them. Aww. No, gone now. Okay, that's the end of the cuckoo now. Sorry about that. I'm being distracted by all the different types of birds that we have. Now, Sean from Secunda, you were wondering if there are any insects, birds, or animals that can predict rain. I think in an element, animals are very good at anticipating when the rains come, much better than we are as humans are able to do. You know how sort of on target the weatherman is. Not very good all over the world, unfortunately. Now, funny you say this. A moment ago, just as we sort of finished a scene with you, as we drove off, we saw a Burchell's cuckoo, which is a bird, and now they're known as the rain bird. Now, one of my and down there they are spot on when it comes to rain. Just before, sort of a day or two before the rainy weather would come through, they'd sort of start to come out and you'd hear the call of the Burchell's cuckoo, that very bad attempt, but they make a noise, something like that. And then, of course, well, that would be an indication that a couple of days later. Right, so there's quite a few different things, but I have to say the Burchell's cuckoo is probably my favorite and I think the best at predicting weather. But we're going to head back across onto Jamie's vehicle and see if she's having any luck yet with those Nkuhumas.
Oh, drat. Just missed. Wait, there we go. We can still see them. Sorry, that wasn't the way I wanted to start my sentence, but as I saw them, they flew away. And we've got a pair of really beautiful grey-headed parrots. And yesterday I was desperately trying to get one on camera, but it was very silhouetted. We could see it, but you could only really get an idea of the vague shape of the bird, rather than its colouring or anything of the sort. So what a nice surprise, that bright green standing out very clearly, especially when they fly away. Then you can really get an idea of just how beautiful they are in a very fleeting way. Right, since our brown-headed parrots have fluttered off, they've gone in the opposite direction now. They were obviously searching for fruit in the various trees. They are frutivores. Frutivores. They do enjoy feeding off the various fruits. Oh, these lions. Interesting update, obviously coming from Simbambili, that it was the Majingilans responsible for chasing them away. Standing by, Herbie. This could be interesting news. Copy that, Herbie, I will do. I'm on Rebecca's now, I'll take Zoe's and then check access road. That's interesting, Brian. Herbie's got their tracks going the other way to where we did. So these lions have been all over the show. And obviously if it was the Majingilans, which it sounds like that was the update from the various other guides in that area, you can understand that the Nkuhumas would be severely rattled by their presence. They've got 6 gorgeous little cubs that they have to protect, and being the good moms and aunts that they are, they would immediately have shepherded those little creatures away as quickly as possible. And now the question remains, which direction did they go? And that might also explain if Herbie and Brent have picked up on their tracks elsewhere, the pride might have scattered slightly in their panic and then come back together again. So we might have ended up with 2 separate, distinct sets of tracks that then will merge into one. But what we're going to do, we're going to pick up the pace a little bit. Oh look, a mammal. Hold on, I was going to pick up the pace a little bit, but at this point in this morning, we cannot afford to pass up any opportunity to look at an animal with a heartbeat, since a great deal of them have been largely absent. And listen closely. There is a very special bird calling, unless it's decided to stop. There was a black-bellied bustard. I know this fly, sorry, I know we're looking at the waterbuck, but this fly has been with us the entire time. It is now sitting on the dashboard. It just flew into Brian's face. I assume that's what the pff was for. And it keeps landing on my face as well, and it really isn't a pleasant looking fly. There you go, look at the evil hair, look at the evil hand rub. Mwahaha. I'm going to plague everybody. I'm going to plague the 2 drivers of this vehicle. Big, slow, unpleasant, pale fly that has been plaguing us since we started. There we go, there's the cleaning its head. Standing by, Herbie. And off it goes. Right. Copy. Thanks, Brent. I'm on my way. They found the lions! In the complete opposite direction which I was looking, which is most distressing. So what on earth was going on there, I do not know, but Herbie calls me, and then there's silence. And then Brent goes, Jamie, just come to Power Lines in Parlour Road. So I think they had a little bit of a surprise. Hold on, everybody, we're going to race through there. Yay! At least one of our mysteries has been solved as to what's been happening and where our lions have gone. Okay. Wonder how they got there. Very confusing. Okay. Yay, this is exciting. It's been a very quiet morning, full of different tracks and no answers, so I'm glad that we've at least come to the conclusion because one of the things I didn't mention was I also found Tingana's tracks crossing into Arathusa. very fresh tracks. And I had to make a choice between the lions and trying to find Tingana. So I've left Ryan from Arathusa to try and find Tingana, whilst we followed up on the lions. And hopefully we'll be able to, either at the end of the sunrise safari or at the sunset safari, go and see our big dominant male leopard. But I didn't have any guarantees he was still going to be on Arathusa, so I left him and decided to look for the lions. So it's been a morning of many tracks. Many tracks and some confusion. There's Shadow's tracks. There's a whole wide range of new bumps. Sorry, Brian, you're holding on back there. Maybe it'll cure the hay fever. Or, not. So the bumps in the road, while we race along towards the lions, are not to reduce the speed of the guides or the speed at which the guides drive. Believe it or not, we don't have a problem with speeding in the reserve, except perhaps on maybe the main access roads. But they're actually more for the control of water flow, because of course the roads are a very easy place for water to flow down, and you can actually really upset the balance of the water table with roads in wrong places. So the bumps stop the water from, regular bumps, stop the water from flowing down the roads and sort of redirect them off on either side. Whee! So there you go, Carter, you were wondering about what the bumps were for. They are for water runoff, they are not for speed, although they certainly have an impact on that as well. But they're not for speed, they're for water runoff. Look who we found! Not a lion. Hello? Yes.
Hi guys.
It's very interesting, seeing as the last tracks I had of them were going off there.
They come into this block and then
Oh, did they skip through here?
parallel. And then unfortunately they got a bit of a fright.
Ah,
We popped up over here. They were lying over there and they went towards the power line.
okay, awesome. Thank
So we
you.
don't want to
No, obviously not.
scare them further, so
Yes.
we've left them be. I think they killed the baby impala. And the mom calling incessantly and sort of following us.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, so I think they might have caught a baby impala as well.
What would that have been? 2 mouthfuls and gone?
Yes, no,
Pretty much.
I think not even two.
Shame. Poor little thing. Okay.
Okay, well, good.
All right.
If you don't find them again, we can. I don't want to walk them too
No.
much, especially if they got chased
They
by
might have,
males
I was
last
going to
night.
say, they might have thought you were the Majingilans come back to haunt them.
Yeah, so we don't want to push them too far. So we think we're going to go wide berth and around.
No sign of Shadow, because she looked like she did come into this block.
She crossed back out to
Where?
the western block. I don't know, I only found tracks in the block.
Okay. That she must have done
Sneaky, these cats.
sneakily. But Tingana was in there as well with her.
He's gone across.
Yes, I know, he's
Yeah.
probably running from her. Okay, all right.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, we'll see you shortly. Well, no, we won't. We'll see the lion shortly. Thank you. And there we go. Our bushwalk team has provided us with our lion sighting. And where to now? Hopefully they haven't gone too far. Oopsie. Oh, sorry. Just once, just one, because I love it so much. The black-bellied bustard on top of a termite mound. And they're just so thoroughly entertaining to watch. Call for us just once, please. It's my favorite sound, or one of my favorite sounds. Black-bellied bustard, you have 30 seconds to make your claim for fame. Or else I'm going to have to go and find those lions. Come on. Don't be shy. Brian, we might be in need of your incredible imitating skills. because I know I can't do a black-bellied bustard call of any way, shape, in any way, shape or form. Just one, please. Pretty please. Stage fright. There we go. I love that call. It's that pop at the end. That champagne cork pop. And the movement of their neck as they do it that is so terribly entertaining. Right. I'm going to concentrate on figuring out where these lions have gone. So let us head across to Brent so that he can tell you the thrilling tale of their discovery again.
So as I said, I'm pretty sure that those lions caught a baby impala. We've got a mother, probably not more than 70 or 80 meters from where we found the lions, and she's calling incessantly, brr, brr, brr. I was hoping she's going to come out into the open here. She's just behind those bushes. I don't know if we can hear it. I think it's a bit far away. She's just trying to see if she's going to move. And she's been just hanging on the periphery of these thickets. The lions were just over there. Brr. Brr. Shame. Now, normally we'd probably try find where that impala was killed, but I think the lion's so close, so nervous after possibly being chased by males, that we're going to start moving away from that area. We're going to give Jamie the best chance. Ooh! Ooh! Some flowers! Oh, there she is. She has come out into the open over there. We'll look at her now. One of my favorite little flowers that grows on disturbed soils. There we go. The blue evolvus, or blue haze. Very pretty little flower. We only found them during the summer months. There we go. Pretty, very delicate little things. And then over here we've got a gemsbok flower, or gemsbok daisy. Also another one of our, only in the summer months. Pretty little one. You can see the very daisy-like shape. Oh, shame that mum impala is not keeping quiet. Let me have a look. There she is. Calling forlornly. Now, the lion's in such close proximity, and you would almost, it's almost a guarantee that they might have grabbed her little baby. Now, there's also a huge amount of wildlife buzzing around us, and it's actually almost deafening me at the moment. Now, you can probably see these little things that come in and out of frame in front, around wherever we're sweating a little bit, around our eyes, or around my ears at the moment. And these little mapani bees, the same type of bees that live in the giraffe skull in the tent. Now, they can be incredibly annoying at this time of the year, especially because it is quite dry, even though it's summer. So they will try to utilize any bit of moisture, your eyes, sweat. So the problem is, if you kill one of them or squash one of them, they release a pheromone that lets the rest of the hive know that there's moisture here. So you get more. So you've got to sort of quick step it to get away from them. Okay, there we go. No, it didn't work. Are we going to jog, Dave? Come on, Dave. Let's go, Dave. Get away from the bees. Get away from the bees. No, it hasn't worked. I think we're just going to have to live with them for the rest of the morning walk. Remember, this is 100% live, and hopefully Jamie's found those lions shortly. But they might have bombshelled when they saw us. As I said, they could be quite nervous after coming across the Majingalan males last night. Now, the Majingis haven't been up in this area for a long time, or up into the western sections where they were. So I'm sure it came as quite a shock to our Inkahumas. But they're headed north from here. I'm just seeing what Herbie's looking at up ahead. Hi, Paul. And Paul's wondering, aren't the Majingalan males normally at Londolozi? Well, from Londolozi further west, Singita, into the western sections, or Lasaba, Nyati, that's sort of their core part of their territory. They used to come up north quite a bit, to Elephant Plains, Sibambili. But with how vocal the Birmingham boys have been recently, they seem to have stayed away from there. But the Birmingham boys have been in the south and in the east quite a lot recently, so maybe that's why they decided to come up into this area. Now, Marianne in Texas is wondering what would be the reaction of the Birmingham boys to this. Well, where the Inkahumas were sort of falls outside of the Birmingham's territory. They do go into Arathusa, but they don't, and Sibambili, but not as far west as the Inkahumas were. So it all depends on how much noise was made. If a lot of noise was made, they probably would come rushing through, but it doesn't look like it, because I heard, as far as I heard, there's some Birmingham boys on Torchwood and Buffelshoek, so maybe they didn't hear what happened last night. So we're actually just going to go, the lions ran from here, but this is the area that they were in when we spotted them. Here we go. This is the track of a lion getting a fright. You can see there's the paw print running in that direction. So this is where we spotted them from. We'll probably be about 60 or 70 meters away. Oh, shame, it's that impala coming back towards us. She almost seems to be following us, and probably if we look carefully around here, we might find, well, it's going to be very difficult to find. Oh, we got a spider web there. It's going to be quite difficult to find with lions that where a kill that small took place. But they were all in here in these quarries. Have a look. You can just see tracks disappearing to the north. As I said, we're not going to, unless Jamie can't find them again, we're not really going to put too much more pressure on them. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have gone too far, although they might have run a little bit further because of their interactions with males last night. Now, lions running from us on foot during the day is a completely natural reaction. We are the dominant diurnal predator. Oh, Dave, stop, you're going to hurt yourself. That is a Ziziphus. There we go. There we go. You don't want to hurt the poor cameraman. So that's a completely natural reaction. Now, modern day lions, Dave trying to get away from some of the bees there. Modern day lions and modern day humans evolved into what we are at about the same time, between 400 and 200,000 years ago, depending on which scientist you speak to. And being apex predators, the both of us, we were in competition for food. But we developed into the dominant diurnal predator. We're able to deal with heat. We're able to walk long distances in heat. Oh, you got rid of it. Well done, Dave. Few other animals are able to process heat and still be functional. Human beings are one of the only creatures that can do that. Lions, on the other hand, have massive problems with dealing with heat. So because we evolved around the same time, lions rule the night and we rule the day. And one of the reasons lions are a social predator is probably a lot to do with us being a social predator. So because we're competing often for the same food resources, bigger food resources, we would use traps and spears and things like that, whereas lions would use their cloth and teeth. Cloth and teeth. Teeth and cloth. Teeth and claws. It's an interesting thing. So a single man who doesn't get on with the rest of the group, he doesn't survive, because walking around here by yourself, being a loner, not having a nice home to go to, you're going to get eaten by a lion at night. But a group of men going through here. Now, imagine there were 30 of us, 8 Nkuhumas, we've got our spears, we can push them into a corner, we might lose a few, but so will they. So that's how that sort of uneasy truce developed, that day versus night. And during the night, they will eat us. It's not if, it's when. If you walk around in the bush at night and you don't get eaten by a lion, it's just because the lion didn't see you. Not because it won't, not because it doesn't want to, just because it didn't see you. And I mean, that reaction of those lions, even though we were far away, we're about 80 meters away, they still bombshelled. Hopefully Jamie's going to have some luck with them shortly. As I said, we're going to try avoid the area now, move away from them, head back down towards quarantine, go look for some wildflowers. I mean, one big cat sighting on foot a day is all one needs, really. Get that blood going. Now, speaking of the incredible Nkuhumas, I can hear Jamie not too far away, and it looks like she's found them.
And there we go. There's our pride. One lioness looking across at where Brent is. I can hear his voice as well. But the rest of them have relaxed and decided to have a rest after what I can only imagine has been one very busy night. So there we go. Finally, Brian, success with our lions. Hello, girls. I'm just going to wait for them. I know we don't really have a very good view. I'm just going to wait for them to relax a little bit, and just so that they feel a bit more comfortable. And as soon as they feel a bit more comfortable, then we shall move in and get a slightly better view. They've had a hard night, and just when they thought their hard night was over, the walking team surprised them. Well, they surprised the walking team. I'm not sure which way around it goes. Perhaps a bit of both. And we'll just give them a little bit of distance. As soon as this female lies down, then we know that they are fully relaxed. It's all right, big girl. It's okay. There's been a bit of a busy evening. Majingilans, baby impala. Now, Jay Atkinson, you say that this is the first time that you've ever heard about the Majingilan males, and you were wondering if anybody could tell you anything more about them. I would say that actually the people best placed to do that will be some of our viewers who have been following the fates and fortunes of the various lions of this area for a very long time. All I can tell you is that they've been dominant males for quite a long time. I'm not sure exactly how many years, but quite a long time. To the west and a little bit to the south of us, there are 4 of them, to the best of my knowledge. And if I'm not mistaken, the Majingilans were in part responsible for the fall of the 6 great Mapochos at one stage not too long ago, not too many years ago. So the Majingilans are they're not ancient lions, but they are relatively old. They're massive. They've got big manes, big black manes, and in fact are probably quite a lot larger than the Birmingham boys at this stage. What you doing, girl? Are you going to settle down now? So that those of you with more information about when the Majingilan male lions came in and exactly where it was that they moved in from, where they came from, I have never ever seen them before. I've heard much about them and I have seen many pictures of them, but I don't know anything about their individual characteristics or exactly where it was they moved from. Come on, girl, it's all right. She's doing her job as a protective lioness, making sure that they're okay. Now, David in Napa, you want to know if we could potentially have another coalition showdown occurring. Well, bear in mind that the Majingilan they're not a new arrival. They've often moved through into Simbambili, so it's sort of on the extremities of their territory. I don't necessarily think that is going to occur. I think the Nkuhumas moved a little bit too far to the western fringes of their home range, and they just happened to overlay with the Majingilans at that particular time. As to whether or not there's going to be a showdown, I don't think so. I think that the lion coalitions in this area for now, at least with the Majingilans and the Birmingham boys, are relatively well and comfortably established. I mean, you can never say never, but I doubt that that's going to occur. I don't think the Majingilans are making a push. As I've said, they've established themselves. They're not really going to try and tackle 4 young, healthy males. They could. Anything is possible with male lions, and instinct is power is a potent thing. A coalition showdown, though, is exactly what we don't want, because depending on what happens, it's either way, it is going to mean utter chaos for our poor Nkuhumas. Right, they're lying down now, which means that we can actually reposition and see if we can't get a good view, go and do a head count of the cubs. They are here, they're just hidden behind a bush. The moms have placed themselves between the cubs and their perceived danger. Hello guys, hello ladies. And Tamira, you wanted to do a head count as well. Sure, it's a little bit tricky, Tamira. I think we're going to have to... Sorry, I'm actually going to go all the way around. I think I see a path. Tamira, can you give me one moment on that? Because I've got 4 lionesses. I'm not sure how many cubs, and there could actually be 5 lionesses. It's a bit tricky in here to tell. They're all lying clumped together, so one lion kind of blends into the next. Oh dear. What have I done, Brian? Oh dear. We appear to be going very much in the wrong direction. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, let's try here. I did say it. Oh! So we'll have to try and do a head count in a moment. Watch heads. Let's try and keep our own first before we start counting others. You okay there, Brian? Cool. So in these sorts of areas, we are very, very cautious about the trees that we drive over. There will only be certain species that we will drive over, and those are trees that are going to pop right back up behind us, which they do, I promise. So what I'm doing is picking my route very carefully so that there's a tree stuck to my bull bar. No, so that I don't do any damage to the ecosystem itself. Fortunately, I've landed myself in a royal mess. Watch that tree, I don't want that to spring up on you, Bebop. Hello! I have arrived. Not really in style, but I have arrived. Let's do it. How's your view there, Brian? Should we have a look? Let's just see what we can see from here, and then I'll slowly start edging closer. I want to still give them a little bit of space. Hello, guys. There's Amber Eyes looking at us with a little bit of a pant. Oh, goodness. That's going to be very, very tricky. 1, 2, 3, 4 lionesses. 4 lionesses here. There's definitely one cub there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. I think I've got a head count of 6 here. Yes, there's number 6 just coming in here with one very round belly. Perhaps he's the one that ate the impala. Yes, you. Talking about you. You big scruffy thing. Okay. I'm pretty sure we've got all 6 cubs here, which is a very encouraging sign. So after all of the drama, moms have managed to keep them safe and sound and all together again. As for where the missing lioness is, because for those of you that are new to these live safaris, there are 5 lionesses in this pride. Now, as to where she is, well, I'm not 100% sure. She might be off mating with a Birmingham boy. She might have become separated, but probably not. There you go. So we've managed to finally catch up with the gorgeous Nkuhumas. The incredible Nkuhumas is what Brent always calls them. Here we go. Okay, now Lane, you wanted to know why is a group of female lions called a pride. We've gone into this history before. I'm trying to remember the exact details. It's a linguistic distinction, and originally it would have stemmed from a time before we understood exactly how it was that Pani bees, exactly how it was that lions there. I think it was, I don't know when it first occurred in the English language, but it is definitely something that refers back to our perceived idea of them. Lions, of course, are just wild animals. They don't suffer from any of the hubris of magnificent big cats. It's not a very easy area, is it, Brian? Let me just try one more reposition. Right, one more reposition so that we can get a very good idea, or a better idea, of exactly who we've got here. We have a question about whether or not lions will hunt during the day or at night. They are nocturnal predators for the most part. So most of their hunting... Hello, girls. It's all right. Do you mind if I come through here? Here we go. There we go. Thanks, girls. Sorry. So in terms of their nocturnal hunting, they're very big cats, and they've got a very, very poor temperature control system. In other words, they overheat very rapidly and very easily, which is why they are nocturnal hunters rather than diurnal hunters. However, a hungry lion does not read the books, so they can and do hunt during the day, particularly if they're hungry, which I have to say the Nkuhumas do not look particularly hungry. They look rather well fed. They've got round bellies, the cubs have got round bellies. All in all, they're looking to be in good health. But if they are hungry, we've seen the Nkuhumas before, we've seen them hunt in the middle of the day. So that does happen. Even occasionally on very, very hot days, we've seen them hunting. And today is proving to be quite steamy. Look at the little procession of cubs. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yay! All 6 little monsters are here. That is an absolute certainty. All 6 cubs are here, present and accounted for. Well done, ladies. You kept your family safe. But there's definitely only 4 lionesses. So one of them, probably the youngest lioness, because Amber Eyes is here, and the other 3 females are mothers of cubs, so they won't be coming into estrus. So the 5th lioness is most likely the youngest lioness of the Nkuhumas. Perhaps she has found a Birmingham boy to keep her occupied, or potentially a Majingilani male. There's nothing to stop her from doing that. And it does happen particularly in situations where strange males to the pride come into an area. Very often the females will shepherd their cubs away, and the females that are not pregnant, lactating, or have cubs will actually go into a false estrus and actually go and attempt to distract the male lions. So that is possible. I don't know for certain, I'm just saying it is a possibility. Most likely she's off with a Birmingham boy somewhere. And what seems to have happened is that the Birmingham boys have moved further to the south and to the east, and that's maybe what's brought the Majingi lions into this area. They just haven't heard the Birmingham boys roaring in this area for a while. And Karen, you wanted to know why are the male lions mostly away from the females? Well, it goes back to our conversation about prides and the fact that actually a pride of lions is just females, and they have a territory that is ruled over by a group of dominant males known as a coalition. Oh, Amber Eyes is up. Okay, we're all up. Sorry, the Mapani bees are attempting to find their way into my eyes, ears, and nose and mouth. They're distracting me slightly. Though the male lions aren't part of the pride. They are associated with the pride. They're dominant over the pride, but they're not part of it. They've got an important job to do in terms of keeping their territory safe from marauding males and other males that come into this area. How are you doing back there with the flies, Brian? Thousands, I tell you. Thousands and millions and billions. There are lots of them. So yes, the males are often off on their own. They are not reliant on the females. Sorry, Brian, you okay? They are not reliant on the females in any way to look after them. They are more than capable of looking after themselves and hunting for themselves. And they've got an important job to do in terms of keeping their territory safe, especially when they've got little cubs, as the Nkuhumas do. They've got to make sure that, watch out there, they've got to make sure that their territories are protected, because if another group of male lions comes in, they are going to kill the cubs. But now, for some reason, our Nkuhumas are all going back towards Arathusa. That seems like a rather poor idea. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is behind this. Let's just give her some space here. Johan. Are there any stations interested in following up on the Nkuma Ngala? The lioness is walking quite delicately. I think she's just dodging the thorns. Sorry everybody, just bear with me in one moment. They are just south of the power lines and west of Impala Road. They're now mobile southeast. I'll keep you updated. I think they might just be going to line the drainage line there. Not quite sure where we're going. Where are we off to, lionesses? Where are you taking us? Copy. Is Tundi with the Bantuan? If it's on Torchwood, probably Mulwanini. Sorry, everybody. Just getting an update for you on Tundi. And now we're going to have a really difficult time of things. I think we're going to have to go around here and to them. So we're just getting an update from one of the other vehicles that's out. I wanted to find out because he said that he wanted to come see the lions, but that he was with Tundi at the moment. Now, Tundi is a female leopard, and I just wanted to find out whether or not she had her cub with her, but apparently not at the moment. Now, I'm going to have to do some serious bundu bashing, in other words, off-road driving. So while we do that, let's head over to the bushwalk team.
I thought it would be a bit sweeter. smell that it was a very fresh leaf. It's not. Now this is an acacia tree. We don't get too many of on Juma. It is called a shangwa in Shangaan, or a scented thorn, and it is a favorite of animals like kudu and bushbuck and inyala. Now there's a flower, one poor flower. There were a few more. Now the reason it's called, let's just move what the elephants have. So thorns. There we go. There we go. Beautiful smell. Quite citrusy. But the reason it's called scented thorn is not because of the flowers. Now I can't see any pods developing just yet. The pods have the most wonderful sort of clean and fresh smell. So I must remember this one, and we'll have to come check on it when the pods come out, because it's such a wonderful clean smell. Sort of a really fresh, it's very difficult to describe, fresh, clean, I don't know what I'll say, fresh, and it's a fresh and clean smell. Now, another animal that really likes this is duikers, and as a child, believe it or not, we had pet duikers, and they used to sleep on the couch, and we used to have a lot of these trees in the garden, and the seeds of that are inside the pod are sort of about this big and the same sort of grey as those big fat ticks. So when you used to have visitors coming to, and they would sit on the couch and they would suddenly see this grey big thing, and obviously we've got wild animals in our living room, and they would be, there's a tick, and of course it wasn't, it was just a seed. Our duikers were incredibly clean. The male's name was Hamish. Hamish the grey duiker. And eventually Hamish just went wild. We let him go wild. Now, even my family, our ideals have changed a lot since then. So my mom used to get a lot of rescued animals from the Natal Parks Board, and we had lots and lots of different wild pets that eventually were released. But as you do that, the longer and longer you do that, you realize that you're not actually doing them, the animals, any favors. Quite often they'll die when they're very young, so they do create, oh yay, I'll talk about that now. There you go. I just saw a dead jewel beetle. Look at that, isn't that stunning? Sapphire in color. Now you can understand why the ancient Egyptians would make jewelry based on beetles. There are some incredible colors and shapes in the insect world. Let me just try to turn him over. You can see just as oh, his head came off. But he's hollow, and he's very much not alive. So it's just the outer shell. All the giddy bits are gone, probably eaten by something like an assassin bug. Let's actually have a look if we can see if something is fed. It's very difficult to see. But they are absolutely exquisite, these little jewel beetles. Now they can get quite big, and but this one is a little one. Very, very pretty. Okay, so we're chatting about wild animal pets. And as I was saying, even my family, we had quite a few. We probably would never have any more. And what happens, it is, as nice as it sounds, it's always very difficult for those animals to reacclimatize to the wild, even if you let them live outside. And generally it ends in tears. And as we learned a lot, I mean, we've had a couple of mongoose, genets, and eventually it all becomes very sad because normally some predator gets them. Now, the strangest one is probably we had an impala named, probably going to get in trouble for this one, but this was its name. The impala was named biltong. If you don't know what biltong is, it's jerky. And we had another impala named pot roast. Unfortunately, biltong and pot roast, this is why we're living in Zululand at Pinde. Biltong and pot roast got to sort of a year and a half, 2 years old, and wander out and join the other impalas, and then they ate them. So it's one of those things, and the longer you live in the bush and stuff like that, you realize that like having wild pets isn't good. If you truly, really love wild animals, you'll let them stay wild. Okay, so we're just checking through these little thickets, seeing if we can find anything fascinating. Now,
of this beautiful scene here, especially so that I can have a look at the beetles and that I can get a photo of them and ID them. I suspect, though, it may be one of the blister beetles, but I'll have to confirm it. I'm not 100% certain. I just remember seeing quite a few that had these bright yellow spots on them, and normally when we see beetles that do have those yellow markings on them or red markings, and particularly against a black background, is that they are toxic in some form. I don't think that they'll be getting the toxin, though, from this flower. So as far as I'm aware, Morning Glory doesn't have too many toxins, unlike the lion's eye and a couple of others. But what a beautiful scene that is. Thank you, little beetles. That was lovely. Something different other than just the birds today. They seem to be the only ones that, like I've been saying, that want to be seen by me today. That's all right. Now, I believe that unfortunately some gremlins got hold of the system. I must apologize for that. Sometimes these things happen. But to make it up for you, I've got a pair of woodlands kingfishers, and it looks like they're doing a display up on the top of that marula tree. There we go. You can see them just to the left.
Having you on foot with us in wildest Africa, and from Dangerous Dave, the dish. He's been fantastic. I mean, we got to find the lions. We saw some incredible little things. So all our sort of things we set out for ourselves before we wandered off into the bush were successful. But we will be seeing you on the Sunset Safari again in a few short hours, and we look forward to our next adventure in the Greater Kruger National Park. From Dangerous Dave and myself, we'll see you later.
We have only just managed to keep up with the Nkuhuma Pride. Both Brian and myself were nearly squashed by a large dead bush willow that, when I drove on it, decided to roll halfway down the drainage line hill and nearly land in the vehicle with us. But we're both alive and unscathed, as of course are the Nkuhumas. And they've settled themselves in an almost impossible position. I can't get in here. It is a really very tricky spot. So this will be our last view of them for the sunrise safari. All 6 cubs alive and accounted for, still wandering about, panting away with very full bellies. So despite their brush with the Majingilan males, I say brush, the Majingilans probably came in, roared a few times, and the Nkuhumas probably went, no, it's time for us to leave. And there probably was at no point any danger to the Nkuhumas themselves. They probably just crept away silently off into the night and returned to the safe spot for them, which is Djuma. Because whilst the Majingilans might infringe a little bit on Birmingham Boys' space, they're not likely to come all the way into the centre of Djuma. Oh, there we go. A little bit of history from Raisa in Finland. That was the story I heard. That was what I was thinking of. The big fight that happened in June 2010 that apparently killed Kinky Tail of the Mapojos and sent Mr. T running. But that was after a fight where the Mapani bees, seriously, this is, no, not up my nose. It was after a fight in which the Mapochos, or Kinky Tail and Mr. T, to be specific, killed one of the Majingilan males. So they were 5 strong. They then became a coalition of 4 male lions. And that ultimately resulted in one of the final moments of the Mapochos' reign. I don't know how... I'm just having a look at Brian. He's also got them. They're all over him. And I'm trying not to be distracted, but it's been a while since I've had quite so many of them swarming around, and they keep crawling all over and up my nose and around my head, and they just don't take no for an answer. It's not like a normal fly that if you do this, it goes away. And these ones stick around, and you just have this sort of constant blurry black motion in your peripheral vision. Now, Ellen, you were wondering if perhaps the bees that are gathered around us are attracted to the scent of the scents in our sun cream. That's entirely possible. What they're after, though, is our sweat, our moisture. That's why they keep going for our eyes and our mucous membranes. It's because that's where they feel they're going to find the most moisture. And the reason I know that is because I haven't put any sunscreen on yet. So I haven't added any, and I showered all of yesterday's sunscreen off last night. So they definitely are after the moisture in my eyes and any kind of sweat that they can find. Brian, you haven't got any sunscreen on, have you? No, they are definitely after our moisture. All right, well, it seems as though we've come to the end of our sunrise safari. Hopefully, the Nkuhumas will stick around for this afternoon sunset safari, and perhaps we'll have some good news on the whereabouts of Tingana. And, of course, there's still no sign of Shadow, so there's lots to look forward to this afternoon. A big thank you to Brian for his wonderful camera work, as always, and for dodging the Mapani bees, as well as to Lou and to Kirsty in final control, the entire SafariLIVE team. Thank you to the Mapani bees for keeping us company. I really am grateful. I think we would have been lonely without them. And most importantly, a big thank you to all of you for joining us. I hope to see you on the sunset safari. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a lovely day.